Hello again, and welcome to another Build the Ghostbusters Ecto-1. This is continuing issue 12 with stage 41. We are going to continue fitting out the dashboard, so we have some pieces there. We're actually also going to bring in most or all of the wiring left over from issue 38, so I've got that here too. And all of these pieces, I believe, are going to be installed in the upper dashboard. So all of that said, I've already got the package open, and we're going to start off with building the radio receiver. I'm going to get some pieces out of here. This is a trim panel that's going to fit in the dashboard. The back of the instrument panel. The front of the instrument panel, I think that looks pretty nice. That's translucent, painted on the back. This is the body of the radio receiver. Front panel of a radio. A bunch of little plastic tabs that hold the wires in. More radio pieces. Tiny radio pieces, and a couple of switch pieces. These last two little chromey bits are ignition and headlight control. I'm trying not to drop them. Just little chrome buttons. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the radio. We're going to put those two little pieces into it. And these just kind of push in from the front. And this longer one has rectangular parts and circular parts. The circular parts go to the outside, the rectangular ones go to the inside. And with this other piece, again, it's somewhat asymmetrical. The slides go slightly towards the center line. So that is the radio receiver built. That's going to go on top of the dashboard. There's a pin and two holes that help locate everything. This is going to be held together with two JP screws. So what I ended up doing there was I actually got the hole in, and I started it into the bottom of the radio where I could see it before I got this pin lined up. I was having too much trouble trying to pivot on the pin to get that screw hole lined up. Now that I got the first one in, it should be nothing to get the second one in. Okay, so there's the radio receiver on the dashboard. That's, you know, I say radio, obviously that's like dispatch radio back to Janine at the firehouse, not the radio for listening to the radio. Next up, we are going to start building the instrument panel. So these two pieces sandwiched together. So this is all chromed out so that when the lights shine in here, it's actually going to get amplified. It's going to reflect around, and then it's going to come through the front glass. This goes together like this onto the rear of the dashboard right in here. And a couple screws are going to go through all of this. And those are AP screws. My hands are not great at this, obviously. Okay, and we end up with that dashboard in there. Now we're going to take the radio front panel, which actually says Motorola and has some radio numbers on it. I don't know how well that's going to come in. But that's going to go in the panel here. And that's secured with a couple of EP screws. So we've got that radio mounted in that trim plate. Now this plate is going to go into the dashboard. Not like that. That's going to be secured from the back side with 2 eyepiece screws. So again, looks the same screwed in, but there it is, actually attached. Now, the last bit we've got to do is involving these little wire retainers and a bunch of wires from a couple of weeks ago. More than a couple of weeks ago. And these 2 little push buttons. So the first thing they want me to do is to take the headlight switch, which is the one that has these sort of fluted edges, and that is going to go in on the far end of the dashboard and kind of just drops in. So it's going to stick out behind the headlight, or rather the spotlight control. It's a little tough to see. It's right in here. And the switch is going to go behind that. Now, that switch came from an earlier kit. That is 38E, which is this gray wire. So, you know, the switch is like that. It fits in, and then this other thing is going to cover over it and hold it all in place. So this is just a little plastic tab. And okay, looking at it, I'm fairly certain the way this is going to go. There's 2 contacts that are actually wired together on that side. And then there's these 2 exposed contacts that do nothing. This tab is actually going to sit in between them, which is really tough to show you on the camera. So this is going to go in that space. It's going to hold it, and there's a screw hole under my finger that holds this all together. And the wire kind of sticks out the side. Now this is going to be held on with an EP screw. And 1, 2, 3, 4. The next 4 of these are going to be EP screws, so I'm going to get all 4 of these ready. This is definitely a thing where I need more sets of hands than I have. Yep, definitely need more hands. Didn't drop anything further than the shelf, so that's good. Well, that almost worked. Let's see if we can get closer to working. Okay, so with a lot of fidgeting with this, we end up with that tab, again separating the contacts from the non-contact side. And I was worried that, because it's loose, that it wasn't going to work. But actually the button clicks just fine. All holds in. So that's how that's going to go together. Now I have several more that are basically going in the same way. The next one gets the other cover. This is for the ignition. It's a little shorter, it's got a dimple in the middle, and smooth sides. This is a very, maybe slightly less obnoxious place, but not for sure. Now this is using 38C, which is green and blue. Does the guide match that? Yes, they actually color-coded these pictures for the wires, so it's a little less awful than it could have been. And when I say green and blue, I mean that one of these leads is green and the other is blue. And the same thing is going to happen, so you're probably going to see me fuss with it just as much to make this one go in. It's all the same pieces. And the orientation of the cable's essentially the same. It's going to come out the same side. Well, I thought I had a brilliant solution, and now I've just kind of bounced the whole thing around, so... Okay, so I got it. I have no idea. It was a combination of toothpicks and propping it up. I discovered a thing, though. It's working now. If you're doing this yourself, be very careful with how much you tighten the screw. If you find that when you go to click it, it clicks but it doesn't release, loosen the screw a tiny amount and try it again. I don't know why it's doing that, but I've replicated it. I know that's the cause. If I tighten the screw about a quarter turn now, the button stops clicking. Don't understand how that's working, why it's pushing on it in that way, but it's secure enough without that extra bit. So once you have it in and it's going together, tighten it down, see if it works. If it does, tighten it a little bit, see where it stops working, and then come back a little bit. That way you'll be secure, but it'll be a working switch. That was a nightmare. And it wasn't even because they're fragile parts. My hands don't fit in these spaces. That was a lot. The next one of these things we're gonna do is 38D, which I think is all green. This is going to go through, I think, part of the radio? No, just next to the radio. This is a little bit more open space. The first one was here and the second one was here, and those are both terribly recessed spaces. This one's going to go in here, the next one's going to go there. I think another one goes over here. So hopefully this is a little less awful. There's a little square that the switch even fits in. That already feels better. I do like putting a toothpick through this. That lets me get it in the right hole and then slide it down. But it does require a lot of juggling hands and pieces. And Okay, so that one went together more or less in one go. And the button sticks out in the front there. Next one's gonna go on the radio and the radio, I think. So now we're going to 38B, which is blue. Same thing. Okay, so there's that one. I just went through and used a toothpick also to bend down the fins a little bit. So I'm going to take a break here real quick. I'm going to come back and we're going to do the last couple of cables. Should be a little easier, but my camera wants a break. Okay, I had some water, feel a little better. The camera still thinks it's maybe overheating, so we'll see if we can get these last couple in before it shuts off. Hopefully these will go smoother. So I need a KP screw and an all-white wire. And this one goes in sideways compared to all the other two, with the wire towards the top of the dashboard. Another one of these tabs. Okay, so that's not too bad. There it is, like I say, sideways compared to the others. And it makes up the last radio button. Clicks fine. So the last thing to install doesn't take any screws, so I think we're good. I don't know why it doesn't take any screws, but it doesn't. This is the light for the dashboard, the actual instrument panel. And this just fits in these holes on this side, and the wire goes off towards the door. So it says to just take this and push. Oh yeah, it's a pretty good fit by itself. The LED housings are the right shape and size. So it just press fits on, and someday that will light up the dashboard. And that is it for issue or stage 41. Stage 42 is finishing out some more of the dashboard, the lower dashboard. It's just a handful of parts, but a bunch more switches that I think initially don't do anything. Maybe they're not even real switches. Maybe they're all just push to look like switches. I don't know. Anyway, that is it for 41. If you like what you see, you like watching me struggle and drop things and yell at myself, click on that cat and you can subscribe. You can check out those playlists for any episodes you might have missed. Have a good one, guys.